It's a call and response too. In this world, Mother, no one can love me. In this world, they do not know how to love me. In this world, Mother, no one can love me. In this world, they do not know how to love me. In this world, Mother, no one can love me. In this world, they do not know how to love me. In this world, Mother, no one can love me. In this world, they do not know how to love me. Where is there pure loving love? Where is there truly loving me? There my soul longs to be. There my soul longs to be. Where is there pure loving love? Where is there true loving me? There my soul longs to be. There my soul longs to be. When I wrote the musical, it really came out of the mantras that Sham gave us in the 80s, and I experienced this doing this intensive practice, and all these songs were just kind of coming out. And during that same time period was also this integration or realization, beginning of an integration of the male and female principles. And I really felt like those were the archetypes with Mary Magdalene and Mary, and Jesus and the Logos, the pure masculine truth, Logos principle, and the love of the feminine principle, and how it is joined, and it's joined in the universe. It's joined as these two creative principles that from whence everything arose. And at that time, my own personality was going through its changes, and I started to realize that, and I don't know if this is a complete statement of the whole issue, but that these two principles join within us, and that the real growth of realization has to do with the sacred marriage internally. And as we're constructed in our life and our sociology and our Western particularly way of thinking, we always project those principles on other people, the masculine and the feminine principles. And I've considered that it's a sign of a great spiritual teacher who can take all of those projections that we put on that person, whether it's a male teacher or a female teacher, that person that can take all those projections and not become inflated and manipulative and exploitive. Because any teacher has this tremendous responsibility of holding the place of that divine principle. And of course, really holding the sacred marriage of those two divine principles, the masculine and the feminine. But the reason I wanted to talk about this song is because this is a reality that we live with daily. And we encounter it in almost every relationship, where we might find somebody who constellates that projection for us of the God being or the goddess being. We find that and we project all that longing onto that person. And that is the intensity of the love of the sacred marriage internally. But what we tend to do, and what we've conditioned to do, and what we're taught to do, and what we don't learn not to do, is project on other people and on relationships. So this is a very stark chant that Yogananda wrote, because this was his realization, I would say, that he knew that the divine feminine, the divine mother, the goddess, was not outside of himself. And that all that intensity of longing that he was looking for, that he found in his own mother, who died, right? All of that beauty of that relationship that he had in his own mother was wrested away from him in her death. And it took him many years of longing and spiritual practice and searching before he found the Divine Mother in himself and in all of life. So when Anandamayi Ma talks about taking the object of the beloved object of your adoration, your deepest heart's desire, and placing it in your ishta, or your beloved form of God, whether it's a goddess, or whether it's God, the Lord Jesus Christ, or Krishna, or Buddha, whoever embodies all the sum total of your longing, then the practice begins to build in intensity until the consummation of all of that longing is fulfilled. But we so often get short-circuited in that, and we find other people who bring that out. And very often that other person who constellates that for us is the harshest test of our real devotion. Do we want divine realization, or do we want to continue to play in the world with various relationships? And most of us are plunged back into that projection process of having relationship. And of course, Shyam talks about relationships are shipwrecks. Yeah, because most of the time in our life experience, every relationship will disappoint. Even the best, finest relationship, whether it's wife, husband, child, teacher, whatever the relationship is that we've manifested and we've projected all of that power of our longing onto, sooner or later will disappoint, because that's operating in the manifest field. But the intensity of our longing that we have is really the divine intensity wanting to unify with itself. And so Anandamayi Ma says often that your real spiritual practice can't progress until the guru is realized internally. So the teacher is there externally to guide us and inspire us, but until the guru is internally realized and felt as a presence, then our real progress cannot evolve more rapidly and fully. So this is a really powerful chant, because what it does is it takes us up against our greatest grief, because we're always looking on the outside for that person, and we're always looking for God to manifest in another person. And the interesting thing about this, what I'm talking about here in studying lives of the real holy beings, is as they intensified their practice and focused all of their longing onto the divine realm rather than the human realm, as they did that, their sense of presence internally and their sense of finding that love in every relationship that came to them also expanded and grew. So they not only found that love internally, but they began to see it in everyone else. And so Anandamayi Ma talks about how your ishta is first you think that your beloved is in the temple in a certain kind of a form, whether it's a cross or a statue or whatever. And then you realize this is too small of a space to hold my beloved. And then it grows and grows on the outside. And even the stories of Radha and Krishna, which is one of the greatest, you can say, stories or mythologies. I don't know if it's how real or unreal it is, but it's all certainly real internally. The stories of Radha and Krishna are such that, of course, it was a great love story. And Krishna was also, you can say, playing, cavorting with the gopis. So there were lots and lots of girls around, you know, young women and girls. And they all adored Krishna, of course, and Radha was, you can say, the greatest devotee. But Krishna did this for a time, and all this feminine devotion was directed at Krishna to the point where the height of their devotion was internal consummation and realization of the divine principles uniting internally. And Radha, of course, had to say goodbye to the human being form of Krishna because he went off and went into a huge war. So he wasn't hanging around very long when this beautiful story occurred. So when he left, she went into the forest in this human grief of where did he go? And then as she walked deeper and deeper into the forest, she began to hear all of the bees singing Krishna's name, and all of the forest singing Krishna's name, and her whole body and all of her cells singing Krishna's name. And this is the consummation of divine love. So this is a really powerful prayer where we all realize that, to the Yogananda's chant, that what we're really longing most for is in the divine realm. And that the consummation of that is bringing that unity of the principles into our human beingness.